airline ticket is bought, the accommodation is already set up, who knows? You already signed up for 4 million tours. And if you, like my friend Amber in Atlanta, the restaurant reservations are already booked. But you know what? With everything else you're doing, you would need money while on the road for your vacation. So let's talk about it. Welcome to my travel diary. This is a place where we believe traveling is a necessity, not necessarily mean additional costs, just the benefit of everyday spending. My name is Paula Simon, and in this week's video, we will be looking at 4 ways in which you could handle your travel expenses. The first one we are familiar with. In fact, we are familiar with all 4, but let me start with the first one. What I'll do, I'll explain the 4, and then at the end I will tell you the ones that I choose to use and why. Let's start with our debit card. One of the things I will advise you is to check with your bank to see if there's any foreign transaction fee, because some banks do charge it. Secondly, notify the bank where you are going so there wouldn't be any hold on your account. Thirdly, Google that country. Find out. If you go on YouTube, you will get information from rope to soap. So if you put in traveling to Spain, purchasing thing in Spain or whatever country you're going to, there would be information there, because not every country an ATM machine is so readily available, especially one on the street. And also, even if you find a bank, you have to find out if that bank would accept your ATM card. That you could check with your bank, or send them an email, or by Google. So you have your ATM card. One of the things, as I mentioned, is that not every country have ATM all over. So I will advise you first, if you're taking money out of an ATM, as much as possible, do it at the airport. So when you reach the city, even if you just take out a small sum, and then when you reach the city, you take out more, but start in the city. It starts at the airport, because again, not every country have ATM machines readily around. When I went to Azerbaijan, I did not see much ATM machines around. Unless you see, you have the banks and it's in front of the bank. But like standalone ATM machines, I was not seeing it. So that is what you want to do. And also, one thing to note, although your bank might not be charging you a foreign transaction fee, remember there's ATM fees in other countries. When I was in Albania, I was lucky to find a ATM machine, a bank in fact, and I didn't find it out with this friend Karen. She told me about a bank, and I went there and they did not charge any fee, which I don't see that happening, but they didn't charge any fee. She said so, and when I checked, it didn't charge any fee. So with your ATM card, those are the things you need to do to make sure that when you reach there, that you were able to get cash. The second is credit cards. Okay, credit cards are not always so widely accepted. Like if you're coming out of the US, you perhaps could use a credit card everywhere. Chances are when you go to those other countries, you might not be able to use it that much. Secondly, I know for certain a Visa credit card. Visa cards. I never had a problem with a Visa card. In fact, you walk into stores and there's the Visa sign. Sometimes, secondly, is MasterCard. Way in the third position is American Express, because someone told me, I think in South Korea, the girl told me that American Express charged too much of fees, and there's the same problem American Express have even in the US. I think it's getting better now, but at one time, even in the US, a lot of places did not take American Express because of the fees. So even if you walk and you have credit cards, I'll advise you make sure you have a Visa, because that one for certain would work. Then a MasterCard, you still could walk with your American Express. especially if you're going to large stores, they might take the American Express. And I know from experience, American Express is good for large purchases because of the protection, and they do not hassle you if you have a claim. Visa, MasterCard, if you have an American Express. I know they have Discover and all the others. I don't know about that. I'm just talking about the three that I had experience with. Even the credit cards. It would be good to notify the bank or the credit card company that you would be out of the country and you would be in whatever country. Perhaps if you're in like Canada and England, they don't have that problem. But in Qatar, I had a problem with American Express. Using the American Express Hilton card at a Hilton hotel, and they look at it as a fraud. It was a long, over 24-hour story back and forth. There's a whole video before they clear that charge for my stay. So you want to tell the banks where you're going so they would not put an alert on your account, and taking into consideration how it is crazy with so much a scam. The system could just trigger for some reason or the other. They could trigger your card, but if it on the file, they would know. The next way you could have money to spend is currency. You could have the US currency and you could have foreign currency. But let's talk about the one that is not so easily accessible, especially if you're coming out to the US. That is the currency of the country or countries that you're going to visit. When I first really traveling around in 2017, while doing research, I stumbled online that I have places that you could order your currency. Out of about 4 different companies I looked at, I choose Travelex because one day money is delivered to an airport. You have an option of going and pick it up at the airport. They're mailing it to you. The fees were better and they were affiliated with United Airlines. So when I bought my currency through them, I get a better exchange rate, plus I earn miles on that transaction. Due to COVID, Travelex shut down in the US. When I traveling around the world, I see them at other airports, but they're no longer in the US. So I don't know for certain which place you could buy it online, but I know you could order currency through your bank. What I'll advise you to is find out from your bank what was the waiting time for you to get the currency. Because I doubt whether they will have the currency waiting in the bank for somebody to request it. They might. But I know of a friend who she had to order her currency 2 weeks before in order to uplift it. I have not, after COVID, I have not ordered any currency because I never order it from the bank, because the bank never give you a good exchange rate, so I wasn't going to the bank. And after Travelex shut down, they closed the operation in the US. I haven't ordered any currency. But that is a good way before you go into the country for you to have the currency, especially if you're traveling for the first time. And it's a vacation and you're spending 3-4 weeks or whatever the case might be. It might be good for you to have some of that money before you go in. So this removing one additional thing that you have to go and get currency because you have to go to the ATM machine to get money. The second, you most naturally you'll go with US currency if you're coming out to the US. One of the things I'll advise you, based on the country that you're going to, do not have large notes. If you're going to Europe or you're going to United Kingdom, you could have $100 bills, because when you exchange that, it will be 90 something, 70 something pounds and 90 something euros. And in those countries, there is not much money. You make 2 turnaround, you go and get a meal, and the money could finish. So when you go into those countries, you could go with $100 bill. That means that you will have like less cash in your wallet or less in your bag or whatever it is, because it's in $100 bill. You could do that in Europe or in United Kingdom. But if you go into a country like Georgia or Turkey or all of that, I will advise you to have your money in smaller notes. Why? Because you might just need 10 US dollars worth of Turkish money. But because you have $100 bill, you have to do the conversion or the exchange on $100 bill. They would not just convert $10 and give you back 90. No, you will be converting the entire $100. This, what I'm telling you, is based on experience. So right now, I try to have smaller notes. At one time, I was so happy with the $100 and the 50 is less money. No, I had to be changing a whole lot of US, and then I end up with a lot of whatever country I'm in, their currency. And you just don't want that. You're looking wrong all the currency from different countries. Look, I have a lot of money from Colombia, which I don't know when I'm using it because I have no intention of going back to Colombia. But it's because that was in the early stages and I didn't understand certain things. So I'll advise you, when you go to those countries, have it in smaller bills. Look, like for instance, you would need cash. In some countries, they need cash if you're using public transportation. If you're using taxi, you have an app on your phone and you have your credit card attached to it, there's different. But if you're using public transportation, some of them, like in Georgia, I could tap any one of my debit card, credit card, any card, and I could get on the bus. Some places that don't happen. You have to buy a card, and to buy a card, you could only buy the card with cash, which is their money. So you see what I mean? You would always need cash when you travel. Even when I was in London, I went to a souvenir store. They were only accepting cash. 5 minutes down the road, I stopped to get something to eat. That cafe were only accepting cards. They said no cash. They want card. So you see that in central London, and yet still there's a difference. They're asking for different form of payment. So I'll advise you to have smaller notes, and based on the country that you're going to, well, then you could walk around with your $100 bills and things like that. For my form of payment, I do not use my ATM card because I do not use my ATM card in the US. I would not be going to another country using my card because the same concern that I have in the US is the same concern wherever I go. If someone hacked my ATM card, that is direct link to all my Moon Eyes. If they hack American Express card or Chase card or whoever card, is their money they have. Okay, I will have to go through the process. Did you report it? Who knows? Send them some statement or whatever the case might be. But you know who still have the money in the pocket? I will have my money in my pocket. If I traveling, I will have my credit cards. I have a Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. That is what I do. And I will walk with US currency. As I said before, I used to buy the currency of whichever country I'm going to. I can't do that now. Or not that I can't. I refuse to do it any other way since Travelex shut down. I will walk with the US currency, and based on how long is my stay. If I'm going to be in a place 6 weeks or a month, for example, I would then have a few $100 bill. Other than that, I always have smaller bills because I don't want to have so much other currency hanging around. So that is the 4 ways in which you could handle your traveling expenses. And I hope this video has been helpful to someone or everyone. If you are new to this channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. A returning subscriber or visitor, welcome also. If this video or any of the other videos on this channel is helpful to you, please share. And you know what? We have space. Why not subscribe? Turn on your notification button so YouTube will let you know when a new video is uploaded. And I'll remind you, please, one, know where your passport is. Check to see the validity of your passport. Check to see how long you have on your passport. Check to see how many blank pages you have. At least you want 3. So take care and continue packing.